Have you ever looked around a crowded room and suddenly felt like you were the only person who didn't belong? That quiet feeling, not sadness, not loneliness, but something deeper. The sense that you simply don't fit in the way others do? If you have, then this video was meant for you. Today we're diving into a subject that's often misunderstood, the psychology of people who have few or no friends. It's easy to assume that solitude means weakness, or that being alone means something is wrong. But what if I told you that in many cases, it's the complete opposite? What if the very people who walk alone are the ones who have discovered something the rest of the world has forgotten? Inner strength, authenticity, and a deeper connection to life itself? Society worships connection. Social media tells us that happiness comes in numbers. The more followers, the more validation, the more friends, the better you must be doing. But Carl Jung, one of the greatest explorers of the human mind, once said something radical. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And sometimes to do that, you have to walk alone. Trait 1, authenticity. The courage to be real people with few or no friends often carry an invisible trait that most can't see. The courage to stay real in a world built on performance. They don't change their colors to fit the crowd. They don't laugh at things they don't find funny or pretend to agree just to be accepted. Their silence isn't emptiness, it's honesty. Think about it. How many people today live behind masks, posting carefully crafted lives online, terrified of being seen as they truly are? But those who walk alone are different. They are like deep rivers, calm on the surface, powerful beneath. They'd rather stand in truth and risk isolation than drown in imitation. Carl Jung believed that every human carries a persona, the social mask we wear to survive, but few dare to remove it. Those who do often end up with fewer friends, not because they are unlovable, but because they refuse to be fake. Being real is costly. It means losing people who loved your mask but never met your soul. It means saying no when silence would be easier. It means walking away from noise and finding peace in your own company. But this authenticity, this deep alignment between who you are and how you live, is the root of emotional power. It's what gives your words gravity, your energy presence, and your life meaning. People who live this way often radiate a quiet confidence, not loud, not flashy, but grounded. You'll notice it when they speak. You'll feel it when they enter a room. They are comfortable in their own skin, and that comfort, ironically, makes others uneasy. The world doesn't always know what to do with people who can't be bought by approval. So if you find yourself alone more often than not, maybe you're not too much. Maybe you're just too real for a world that thrives on illusions. Trait 2, independence, the power of self-reliance. Let's talk about another fascinating trait, independence. When life forces you to stand alone, something incredible happens inside you. You stop waiting for someone else to save you, validate you, or make you feel complete. You learn to rely on the one person who will never leave your side, yourself. In a world addicted to validation, this kind of self-trust is revolutionary. Most people can't go an hour without checking if others approve of their choices. They need reassurance to feel okay. But the lone individuals, the ones who've spent nights with only their thoughts, they build something far stronger, inner stability. Carl Jung described this as individuation, the process of becoming whole within yourself. When you walk through life depending on no one for your peace, you start to operate from a place of freedom. You make decisions that reflect your values, not society's noise. You chase meaning, not attention. You become the author of your own story. And yes, this independence often looks like distance. People might call you cold or distant, when in truth you've simply stopped outsourcing your happiness. You've learned that solitude isn't a punishment. It's a sanctuary, a space where you recharge, think clearly, and find answers others miss because they're too busy filling silence with noise. Have you noticed how calm, truly independent people are? They don't panic when plans fall apart. They don't crumble when someone walks away. Their roots go deep, deep enough to withstand storms. That's not isolation, that's mastery. Carl Jung once wrote that, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." And that's exactly what independence does. It forces you to meet yourself without distraction, to confront your flaws, your fears, and your potential. It's not an easy path, but those who walk it emerge with an unshakable sense of who they are. So, if you've ever been labeled too independent, remember this. It's not a flaw, it's a sign of evolution. You've stopped chasing belonging and started embodying wholeness. And that shift, from needing others to knowing yourself, is one of the rarest transformations a human can experience. In the next part of this video, we'll uncover 3 more hidden traits that define people who walk alone, how their selectivity protects them from chaos, how introspection turns solitude into wisdom, and how personal growth transforms their silence into light. Because sometimes the people who seem to stand apart are not lost. They're simply walking a higher road. Stay with me. Trait 3, selectivity. The art of choosing peace over popularity. There's something deeply misunderstood about people with few friends. Most assume they've been rejected, but often the truth is the opposite. They're the ones doing the rejecting. They've learned through quiet observation that not every connection is worth keeping. In a world obsessed with belonging, they choose peace over popularity. They don't let just anyone into their energy field because they know how rare and sacred that space is. To them, friendship is not a collection, it's a commitment. It's not about how many people you can talk to, but how deeply you can connect with one. Carl Jung once said that the meeting of 2 personalities is like the contact of 2 chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Selective people understand this intuitively. They know that every interaction changes them somehow, so they choose carefully. They can sense hidden intentions. They can read micro-expressions. They feel energy long before words are spoken. And because of that, they avoid relationships that drain, manipulate, or distract them from their inner path. This is not arrogance. It's discernment. When you've been alone long enough, you begin to value silence over forced conversations. You realize how precious your mental space is and how easily it can be polluted by the wrong company. That's why people with few friends are often the ones with the richest inner lives. They invest in fewer bonds, but those bonds are made of truth, not convenience. They would rather sit with one genuine soul who understands them without explanation than 100 people who only love their surface. They've mastered the art of protecting their peace, and that's something our generation desperately needs to learn. So if your circle is small, don't apologize for it. It's not a sign of lack, it's a sign of clarity. You've learned that not everyone deserves access to your energy, and that's one of the highest forms of self-respect. Trait 4, introspection, the mirror of the soul. There's a world that exists beneath the noise, quiet, vast, and profound. It's the world within you, and only a few people ever learn to enter it. Those who spend long periods alone often develop a rare superpower. Introspection. They are not afraid of silence. They are not afraid of their own thoughts. They sit with them, explore them, and learn from them. While most people fill their emptiness with constant distraction, scrolling, talking, escaping, introspective souls dive inward. They explore memories, emotions, and patterns like archaeologists of the psyche. They ask questions others avoid. Why did I react that way? What am I really afraid of? What do I truly want from this life? Carl Jung believed that our outer world is a reflection of our inner one, that who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes, and that awakening often begins in solitude. When the noise fades, truth begins to speak. You start hearing the quiet voice of intuition, the one that tells you when something is wrong, when something is right, when it's time to change. This introspection doesn't make you fragile. It makes you deep. It gives you emotional intelligence, empathy, and a strong sense of purpose. You understand your shadows, and because of that, you don't project them onto others. You see through your own illusions, which allows you to see through the world's. People who live this way often appear mysterious to others. They don't speak much, but when they do, their words carry weight. Because their thoughts aren't random, they come from reflection. They've met their fears, walked through their pain, and found wisdom in both. This kind of self-awareness is rare. It's uncomfortable. It forces you to confront your darker side, what Jung called the shadow. But in doing so, you become whole, and that wholeness radiates peace. So if you find yourself spending long hours alone, reflecting instead of escaping, understand this. You are not wasting time. You are cultivating depth in a world that worships distraction. Trait 5, growth, turning solitude into strength. And now the most beautiful truth of all. Those who have few friends are often the ones who grow the most. They have faced the mirror of silence and survived it. They've learned to transform solitude into wisdom, to turn emptiness into expansion. While others fear being alone, they use it as a forge to refine their character. Carl Jung believed that every human must walk through the night of the soul, a dark passage of introspection and struggle that leads to transformation. Those who have walked alone have already faced that night and emerged more awake, more grounded, more evolved. Think of it this way. When you stop depending on external noise, you start hearing your internal truth. You grow emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. You develop patience, depth, and resilience. You stop chasing what's temporary and begin seeking what's timeless. This growth doesn't happen in crowds. It happens in the quiet moments, when you choose to face your pain instead of numbing it, when you forgive without applause, when you build yourself in silence. That's where real maturity is born. These people become guides without even trying. Their very presence calms others because they've already walked through the storms most people still fear. They know loss, yet they still choose compassion. They know pain, yet they still choose kindness. And that's true strength. So if you've been walking this lonely path, please remember, solitude is not your enemy. It's your initiation. You're not being punished, you're being prepared. The universe hides its strongest souls in silence first so they can learn to hear their own voice before the world's. And when they finally emerge, they shine differently. Not loud, not desperate for attention, but quietly powerful. They've turned their loneliness into light. If these words touch something inside you, it's not by accident. It means this message found the right heart. Because deep down, you've always known you're not strange for walking alone. You're just awakening ahead of your time. Carl Jung's work reminds us that the path to self-discovery is often walked in solitude, but the reward is freedom, authenticity, and unshakable peace. So honor your quiet nature, protect your energy, and never forget, sometimes walking alone isn't loneliness. It's leadership of the soul. Thank you for watching. If this message resonated with you, give this video a like to let me know. Subscribe for more reflections that awaken your inner world. And together, let's keep uncovering the extraordinary beauty of the human mind.